Hey there everybody, welcome back to Exodus episode 6, and as you can see here we are right where we left off in episode 5 at the station, except now we've done everything that we need with our engineer, and we've dropped off the rest of our colonists, so we can just plot a little course to get back to Kerbin, and I just put it in a spot there, that way when we actually do our exit burn from the Mun sphere of influence, we can lower our periapsis in Kerbin sphere of influence. Just saves us a little bit of delta V there, even though we have tons. And yeah, so go ahead and just warp forward a little bit and just cut out that section bit there, or that middle section there. That way you guys don't have to sit through that. And I know this is on the dark side of the planet. Again, I'm sorry. This will be the last time that I make a mistake like this. I don't think that I've made any more big mistakes like this. At least they were quite this bad with being on the dark side of the planet when I'm doing something worth showing. So it'll look a little bit better. But you can see there, it did look kind of nice. I mean, get that little bit of a sunrise on Kerbin. The nice little pretty shots. I take a few of those during this mission or this episode. I don't remember which one. Well, I don't know which one I'll use for the thumbnail because I haven't made the thumbnail yet. I normally do that when the video is uploading. So yeah. Anyways, they got returned safely, and then I sent them on another mission. Unfortunately, I didn't capture the footage for this one. So what's happening here is they're on a rescue mission. I believe I rescued 2 Kerbals, and then we are also taking 1 Kerbal to their vacation destination thing. It was a tourist. We're doing a tourist mission. That way we can get almost $1 million, which will be used partially in this episode. So yeah, there's some stuff that happens. No, it's only partially. We don't, even with as far as I've gotten, I don't think that I've used most of it. Only just like a portion of it, a good sized portion of it. Anyways, so we've already rescued those Kerbals at this point, and we're just having to take our tourists down to the surface of Minmus. So you can see here, I'm trying to land on that flat spot, and I burnt my burn to decelerate. Well, I did a bit too much decelerating and started to accelerate back into the hill. So now I'm having to just move myself over so that I'm not landing on the hill there, because if I did that, then the whole craft could tip over, and that just wouldn't be good. I mean, you guys have seen me do that before, and there are ways of getting it back up, but they're not the best ways. So just going to jettison that interplanetary stage there that I also use to decelerate or start the landing burn here in Minmus. It bounces a little bit after the engine explodes, and now we just come in for a nice, gentle little landing. Yeah, I think this is one of the best landings that I've ever done. And I think we also had a mission to plant a flag on Minmus. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. Either way, Jeb's not really working with me with walking the right way, but I can plant a flag anyways here in just a minute. Yep, get a nice little shot there. And we could take some science data, but I don't believe that I do that. Instead, I write this that I can't really see because the preview window is too small, but I think it was something that was actually good for once. I think I wrote something that was good, so you guys can see it or pause it or whatnot if you want to read it. Yeah, and I forget to take the science, so it's okay. We'll get more science later. Now we'll have money to do missions that can get us more science. So we go and start to take off and suddenly have a very interesting orbit around Minmus. So I decided to go and play around and try to do the same sort of thing that I did on the Mun with Minmus, but then discover, oh no, I'm going to actually have to make my orbit a bit more reasonable for me to be able to do that. So I go ahead and circularize it a little bit, and then we're at about the right spot. So I just begin to burn, and it looks good. I don't think it's quite as good as what it could have been if I had planned it, but it's fine. I've got enough delta V here, it doesn't really matter. So we go and lower our periapsis. That way, yeah, it's inside the atmosphere, so no matter what, this thing will eventually land. And then we just get a bit closer here before I do my little deceleration burn that I like to do, and I've gotten to the point where I sort of don't even need the maneuver node to do it anymore. I can just do it on my own. Now, granted, I think the next episode it'll show a time in which I do use it because I just wanted to be more efficient. But yeah, I'm getting pretty good at this stuff after having not played KSP for a long time before the series. But yeah, so we go ahead and use the rest of our fuel, decouple there so that it's just the landing, like the capsule, and then the other little lander pod, which I didn't actually test going through reentry, so I didn't know if it would stay the right direction. Glad that it did. The front of the, I don't know what it's called. It's the flat piece underneath it that can hold an additional 2 kerbals. That one, it's a little knob that sticks out with the windows that got a little bit heated, but it's fine. It got recovered fine, and then I wanted to take a nice little cool picture, but that probably won't be the thumbnail either. You guys know what the thumbnail is. I don't yet. Anyways, so now we get them together once again for another mission, just mission after mission after mission. With our new Galileo spacecraft. This one's pretty similar to the Orion spacecrafts. I think I'm going to use the Orion ones just sort of for template for other missions, and then if I need to do little recovery missions or whatnot here and there, then I'll go and use the Orion craft. But the Galileo crafts will be partially, if not totally, reusable. This is just my first venture into the reusability sort of area. So I almost destroy my rocket there, and I only have like 20, 30, maybe 40% of it that was supposed to be reusable. It's probably more like 20% of it that was supposed to be reusable, just to save some costs. But I mean, it sort of works. I mean, you can only see part of it during this episode, but it's okay. We'll get to that when, we get to that. Right now, just sort of burning, and then, oh dear, there was an explosion. I left the fuel in there because I would have needed it to land, but I burned too much and blew up the little control module that was on that. So it can't re-enter now, which means I just lost all that Delta V for nothing. Try it next time. Yeah. So we go, and because I took that extra time looking at the stage falling, I now am not able to get into a proper orbit. And yeah, the rocket ship's just going to spiral around here a little bit. It takes a while before I can actually get into the faster time accelerations, which, I mean, isn't a big deal for you guys here, but it's really annoying when you're actually playing this because it takes forever to do anything unless you can get to the faster time accelerations. Anyways, I go and plot my course after I circularize a little bit, or maybe I plot it before I circularize. In either case, I cut out the extra little maneuvering and stuff that I did there to get the orbit that I want, because this is going into a solar orbit. This is not going to the Mun. This is not going to Minmus. This is going to the solar orbit. I probably should have said that initially, but in any case, yeah, so I'm using the Mun there as a little bit of a boost to just sort of kick me out of Kerbin's sphere of influence with less Delta V, because I don't know how much I'm going to need to get back to Kerbin, and I have to have enough Delta V that I can land, because this is supposed to have propulsive landing. I do use parachutes to slow myself down a lot, but it's still supposed to be a propulsive landing. So, yeah. And I think I'm saying that right. Propulsive landing. Yeah. Anyways, I'll just have to see how it goes. So we're approaching the Mun now. Do a little bit of a flyby there. Looks so pretty. Can't really see anything with that shot, but especially not with the YouTube's compression. But believe me, in my side, it looked really pretty. So now we're just making sure, can we actually get back to Kerbin? Because I know if I thrust retrograde right here, I'll be able to get back to Kerbin no problem. But I'd like to stay outside of Kerbin's sphere of influence for just a little bit while, because at this point I'm not sure how that's going to affect my science or not. So I transfer my kerbals down to the science lab, and I'm thinking over, well, do I really want to put all this in the science lab? And eventually I decide, yes I do, because I can get 2 copies of everything. So I'll have stuff in the science lab, and then I'll have stuff that's just going to be for recovering, because I think those give me separate pieces of science. And based on the amount of science that I got at the end of this mission, which isn't seen in this video, sorry, but there's other stuff to fill in the gaps, don't worry, then yes, it does. The end of this mission will be on the next episode, with however that ends. Perhaps it's a giant fireball and only the crew survive, or maybe no one survives, or, well, you know that I get the science back, so something survives. But yeah, so I go and gather all the different science that I need, reset the mystery goo and whatnot. That way I can take second pieces of science just for recovery. Which, come to think of it, did I take that and put it inside? Yeah, I did. This went by really fast, so I couldn't commentate over everything that was happening. But anyways, I've started the science station, or no, I haven't started the science station up, but I have went and collected all the bits of science that I need. So now I can readjust my reinsertion burn to Kerbin. My Kerbin intercept burn. That's more of the correct terminology. Because I wanted it to be sooner, because I got all the data that I needed. So I go find it and then just start the burn for it. Yep. Warp ahead. Now we are inside Kerbin's sphere of influence once again. Yeah. Now it looks like we will actually exit Kerbin's sphere of influence unless we slow ourselves down. But don't worry, I'll go ahead and do that. As you can see right here, I add a maneuver node, or maybe I want to get a little bit closer first. There we go. Now I add a maneuver node and slowing myself down. I don't want to slow myself down too much, because I can always come in at more of a inclined angle into Kerbin's atmosphere to slow myself down. But if I don't have any propellant left, then I can't land this thing propulsively. So I can't just make a circular orbit, because that would use more delta V, and I don't want to lose that delta V. So I do have a maneuver node there, but I basically just ignore it and do the burn on my own, as you can see right here. Yeah, that's enough. I'm not going to get slingshotted out into the solar system by the mun, so I'm safe here. And then I can start to do some of the research, because I really wanted them close to the station to make sure that close to Kerbin, to make sure that if anything went wrong while they were doing the science, then I could go up and save them. Or if I needed more fuel or anything, yeah. But speaking of the station, they do have a lot of resources left. In between this video and, well, just different pieces of this video, a lot of time actually passed. I think half a year actually passed, because I wanted to see what happened with researching science in both stations, and to see how well I could keep Kerbals alive for long periods of time inside space, since we have to keep 100 colonists alive on another planet. I just needed to see how that was going. In that time, I'm starting to get a little bit low on Imperium 1, the station that's around the Mun. A little bit low on some of the resources. So you can see here I'm going for an intercept with Imperium 1. Which I'm actually sort of surprised that I remember its name so well, because I'm normally terrible with names. But I do some little adjustments there and actually get a fairly good intercept with the space station. So I don't need you guys to see all of me trying to maneuver here. It ends up me having to do a little bit of extra maneuvers to really get that as close as I want. But I do, and I almost hit it before, but you couldn't really see it in the video, it was in the dark, so I figured that I wouldn't show it. But I came very close to hitting the station. I'm glad that I didn't. That would have been a lot of lost money and deaths. Now, funny enough, this mission and the Galileo mission, neither of those are to make any money. So it's a good thing that I've been making money, because I don't get a dime off of these. I do gain, I think, a little bit when I finish with the Galileo mission. I think I gain a little bit of prestige, which converts into some science because of the different things I've done at the Space Center, but I'm not really getting a lot out of it. So here I go and I start my docking procedure. Now, I don't really show it, but the station is actually losing electric charge because it's been so much time that the solar panels are facing the wrong way. So I had to twist that so the station wouldn't run out of charge. I'm glad that it didn't run out of charge. Anyways, now I got it faced the right way, docked, everything's good. Got to get rid of the little wobbles there so nothing bad happens. But you guys can probably see, I can't see, but you guys can probably see that the Kerbals are all now, I mean, they have more supplies to last longer. So that's good. I can also change out my crew. I'm going to do a much longer mission here very soon because we need a lot more science. Now, the Galileo mission will net us a lot of science, but that's going to take a while in-game time. For you guys, it'll be next episode that we get the science from that. But in-game time, it's going to take a very long time. So we're going to have to get more science from another planet. Which requires, well, good trained crew. So I want Val back. And since we recovered those other Kerbals, they can go and pilot this and do the science for this. I want a good scientist, and I want Val. Because, remember, Val's got to go on the sketchy missions, even though we sent Jeb on Galileo 1, which was sort of sketchy. But Val's mission is way, way sketchier. I haven't completed it at this point, and I have no idea how it's going to turn out. So that might go terribly. But the refueling and restocking of the space station and switching out the crew there has gone quite well. We are now outside the Mun sphere of influence, staging there to get rid of that interplanetary stage. And we're now heading back to Kerbin. I also am not sure how to refocus on my ship once I focus somewhere else, so that's annoying. But we're just entering here. It's kind of a fast re-entry process, but it's fine. Yeah, the engines take it. We slow ourselves down, open the drogue chute so that it all goes well. Oddly enough, we're falling faster than that right now, which I find very odd. Because even though the parachutes aren't totally open, they're still generating a ton of drag. So that's weird. But when they open up more, we'll be far, far slower than the other piece. So there should be a slight little explosion that happens somewhere around here. So yeah, drogue chute opens. Now these chutes open, and there should be an explosion at some point. I actually can't hear what's going on inside the game, because if I do, then I also hear myself talking, and it messes me up, that little bit of a delay. You guys try it sometime. It's really hard to talk. It's just, if you want someone to stop talking, give themselves a slight delay of, well, them talking, and they can't. It's kind of funny. Anyways, so this is the end of the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you didn't catch what happened before this, go ahead and click on the video that should be up on screen right about now, and that'll take you to the previous episode, or you can look at the playlist with all the other episodes before this. But thank you guys for watching. Like if you liked, and check out something else on Warax. Bye.